My name is Sister Carolyn Wiethorn, and I'm a sister of St. Joseph for 62 years. With my father, every single Sunday that he was off work, which was every other Sunday, we would take long walks, and he would sing, and we would sing songs out loud. And we would visit my uncle, who lived, well, total, it was like 3 miles away, because we never had a car when I grew up. My mother, I remember she made wonderful meals for us. She always had bows in my hair. When we would nap as little kids, she would polish our shoes between naps. So all these things were so, simple, but so meaningful, showing such great love. I think for both my parents, what they taught us by example is that God was everything. Their faith life, I just can't even begin to describe, because it was a time of the Great Depression and World War II, and how they survived, I will never know. My father's first wife died at 27, and they had a 4-year-old son, and he's the one who found his mother dead. And then my father married my mother, and she nearly died when I was quite young. In fact, that was my first memory of God, because I remember going and kneeling at her bed and begging God not to take her. And she survived. And she lost a baby when that was happening. And so all through their life, everything that happened, it was their faith that got them through it, and our family through everything. How could I ever thank them, except by, really, they say, in remembrance of anyone that you love, you live their values and their hopes and their dreams, and their faith especially. And it's not that I have their faith, but it's just so imprinted on my heart and my soul that that is my, hopefully my focus in my whole life. My mother was extremely social, and she started many organizations. My brother, Bill, he went to the seminary, became a Capuchin priest, and she started a group called Friends of Our Lady. And and also she was a member of the Christian Mothers, and any phone call that we got would say, "Mom is a Christian mother" on the phone. And my dad, just because of his business connections, he was out there, and in those days, a pharmacist was like a doctor. And one of our older sisters, Sister Ildefonse, remembers going into my father's drugstore as a child, and people would bring their animals to be healed. And my dad would be there to, whatever they did in those days to heal a pet. So, that was, their whole life was living for others, and therefore, really showing an example of why we're on earth, which is to connect and have these beautiful relationships and sometimes difficult relationships with others. This is one of the first pictures I have of my parents. It was really on their honeymoon, and it was the only vacation my dad ever had. My mom and I. And that was at a wedding that we were at, and my mother at that point was in a wheelchair, and it was my nephew's wedding, and we had such a wonderful time. She loved parties.